In our Easter lesson for March 27th, we're going to look at one of the most familiar stories of the resurrection in Luke chapter 24. The whole chapter, of course, tells the complete story, but we're going to focus on verses 1 through 12. Now, it's almost impossible for us to project back into the story the feeling of these women as they went to the tomb on Easter morning, because we know the end of the story, of course. But I think it's necessary to do that to really capture the whole spirit of this passage. We need to realize that when they went to the tomb that day, they weren't expecting to see the stone rolled away and be greeted by the angel or by the resurrected Lord. They were expecting to see the body of Jesus just like they had seen him when they took him down from the cross, dead, lifeless, and hopeless. And the whole point of the story is to recognize the difference between what they expected as they went to the empty tomb and what they found when they got there. So do a little mind adjustment. Try to get yourself into the spirit of the women as they go to the tomb. And let's start the story now in Luke chapter 24, verse 1. On the first day of the week, Luke says, very early in the morning, the women. He doesn't identify the women here. In fact, he doesn't identify them until we get down to verse 10, when he tells us that it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James. But those are the three women who go to the tomb here in the opening verse of our passage. So who are these three women? Let me say just a word about each. Joanna, if you'll look up in Luke 8:3, Joanna is the wife of Herod's servant Chuza, C-H-U-Z-A. Apparently Jesus healed her of some undisclosed physical ailment, and as a result of that, she becomes a follower of Jesus and even supports him out of her own private means. And according to Luke, Joanna, wife of Chuza, is one of the women who go to the tomb to anoint the dead body of Jesus. The second one is Mary. Now, this is not Mary, the mother of Jesus. This is Mary, the mother of James and Joseph. Now, according to Mark 15, verses 40 and 41, she was also at the cross when Jesus died. One of her sons is identified as James the Younger. And some historians say, some biblical scholars say, that actually is James, the son of Alphaeus, identified in Luke 6:15 as one of Jesus' disciples. So this is probably the mother of one of his disciples. So we have the wife of one of Herod's servants, and we have the mother of one of Jesus' disciples. The third woman is Mary, who comes from the town of Magdala. We know her as Mary Magdalene. There's a lot of stories about her that go beyond really what the New Testament teaches. But what the New Testament teaches is that she was healed by Jesus, and that after that she traveled with Jesus and supported him all the way to the bitter end. So here are three women, wife of a servant of Herod, mother of one of the disciples, a woman who Jesus had healed, and these three women now are going to the tomb to anoint the dead body. Now let me call your attention to another phrase in verse 10 when Luke identifies these women that we sometimes slip over. I'm actually working on a sermon on this right now and hope to preach it sometime. Look at the final phrase in verse 10. It says they did not believe the women. Verse 10. It says it was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James. Look at that next phrase. And the others with them. Isn't that a great phrase? This is a reminder that there are